I start this album, I'd like to warn you. If you have your halos on, you better take them off. They might start pinching. And let's face it, all the angels are upstairs. I've read so many articles about the way to a man's heart being through his tummy that I decided to take a few cooking lessons. A couple weeks ago, I asked my boyfriend home for dinner. I fixed a nice steak, and I made some biscuits, baked a cake, and a pie. But he didn't seem very impressed with it all, and it sort of hurt my feelings until after dinner, I found out that he liked to nibble on my cupcakes. He just went nuts about their taste. They seemed to melt right in his mouth. I've never had complainers. They're smooth as silk and filled with milk. And he said they come in such cute containers. Oh, you should see my lovely cupcakes. They are much too nice to go to waste. I asked him if he'd like a bite, and now he bites them every night. He likes to nibble on my cupcakes. He likes to nibble on my cupcakes. Just like his mother's, they're just right and left. They're not too big, they're not too small, they fit right in his grip. They're not too hard, not too soft. And there's a raisin on each tip. Ooh, you should see my lovely cupcakes. They made him raise a hearty appetite. They're juicier than any steak. And he found out that they weren't fake. He likes to nibble on my cupcakes. Man, this guy is always eating. When I was a child, I nearly went wild. I wanted to play the piano. I had a teacher, a very fine teacher. His name was Professor Romana. I think of those days even yet, and I'm sure I will never forget my first piece. I was so young and so sentimental. I was shy, so shy, but he was so patient and gentle. I've had many pieces since I was a child. How many? I cannot recall. But was I surprised when he tried that finger exercise? But I liked my first piece best of all. My first piece, my very first one. I was so young and so sentimental. It was hard, it was difficult, but he was so patient and gentle. I've had many pieces since I was a child. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40. I cannot recall. We got along fine until page 69, and then I quit. But I liked my first piece best of all. You know, the way the world has been lately, there's not too much we can be sure of. But after thinking it over, I've decided there's one thing that will never change. I believe, I do believe, I believe that sex is here to stay. My Aunt Bessie was a lonely old maid that she dreamt of love so often. She was happy when she died, 'cause she finally got laid in her coffin. I believe, I do believe, I believe that sex is here to stay. Now age has nothing to do with sex, it's fact you cannot hide. There's many an old house with snow on the roof, but there's a fire still burning inside. I believe, I do believe, I believe that sex is here to stay. I've watched lots and lots of girls, and this I know is true. If I'm ever gonna get a mink coat, I'm gonna get it like the little minks do. I believe, I I do believe, I believe that sex is here to stay. There's many a man who rocks his child and rocks his child alone. But there's many a man who rocks another man's child when he thinks he's rocking his own. I believe, I do believe, I believe that sex is here to stay. Now the good girl said to the bad girl, gee, but it's hard to be good. And the bad girl said to the good girl, well, it's gotta be. I believe, I do believe, I believe that sex is here to stay. I've always wanted to be a star and see my name in lights. Although I'm not a star, I've had a lot of opening nights. And sex is here to stay. I know you've all heard about the three virtues, faith, hope, and charity. But I wonder if you've heard about the three little sisters. There were three little sisters, faith and hope and charity. Faith was the oldest, hope was the boldest, and they both looked down on charity. Faith moved to the city, soon she was sitting pretty, 'cause there she met an aging millionaire. She wrote, hope, don't be silly, come at once to the city, 'cause what you got is worth a lot of yard. Hope went and she didn't do too bad, because between the two they knew who's who and they gave everything they had. But the third little sister, they found out that they missed her. Poor Charity was all alone. But they were mistaken, she was not forsaken. She had a swinging business of her own. She had rings on her fingers, long silken hose, a Cadillac, an ermine wrap, and lots of fancy clothes. They asked her, where did you get 'em? How did you get 'em? Charity replied, they're all my own. While Faith and Hope were busy hustling in the city, Charity began at home. Now I'd like to jive you a little with Boogie Woogie. Boogie Woogie, shooby-dooby. Boogie Woogie, Boogie Woogie all night long. Love is a thing you can't explain. Tickles your toes, numbs your brain. 5 minutes of pleasure, 9 months of pain. 2 weeks in bed and you're at it again. Boogie Woogie, I just dig that boogie. Boogie Woogie, Boogie Woogie all night long. The newlyweds went to bed early. That in itself isn't strange. But the very next day, he gave her his pay. She started handing him change. Boogie Woogie, she had too much of that boogie. Boogie Woogie, Boogie Woogie all night long. The bookmaker out at the racetrack said he'd lay me 10 to 7. I said, I'm sorry, my friend, I have a dinner date then. Let's make it 11:30. Boogie Woogie, I just love that boogie. Boogie Woogie, Boogie Woogie all night long. The salesman came home from his travels. His wife met him at the door. He said, please dear, don't scoff, but my business fell off. She fainted dead on the floor. Boogie Woogie, she lost her boogie. Boogie Woogie, Boogie Woogie all night long. My boyfriend said the other day he was tired of playing second fiddle. I said, you're lucky you can play it all with an instrument so little. Boogie Woogie, I just love that boogie. Boogie Woogie, Boogie Woogie all night Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I must ask your forgiveness. You see, I'm not quite up to par. Because last night I went to a party, and you know how hangovers are. There were lots of important people there, you might say the upper set. It's amazing after a few drinks how low the uppers can get. I don't often go to such parties, for a lady never gets drunk. But whoever called me a lady? Last night I was drunk as a mother-grabbing skunk. I woke up this morning with a big fat head. I looked in the mirror and wished that I was dead. Drunk. I was sick as I could be. Got those hangover blues. Ooh, what that booze does to me. It was a wonderful party. Everything was free. My one and only question is, was that including me? Drunk, sick and sorry me. Got those hangover blues. Ooh, what that booze does to me. I'm gonna give up drinking or get a new technique. Booze might make a man strong, but man, it makes me weak. High as I could be. Got those hangover blues. Ooh, what that booze does to me. I've been drunk before, but last night was the worst. But the next time it's gonna be different. I'm gonna get the mink first. Promises. If I had every mink coat that was promised to me, I'd open up my own store. Ooh, hangover blues, what that booze does to me. All living things are similar, that's what I've been taught. I'm like a fish, my one wish is that I don't get caught. Blind. Man, I was really knocked up. Out. Got those hangover blues. Ooh, what that booze does to me. It must have been a stranger. I'm sure of that because I remember turning over and saying, what'd you say your name was? Maynard. Maynard who? Oh, Maynard Dorr. I'm gonna give up drinking and lose those hangover blues. So we meet again. Thanks a bunch for buying me. The record, that is. 'Cause, man, I need the bread. You see, when I was young, I was stupid. I gave it away. Now I'm selling 'cause I figure in a few more years, I'll have to start buying. I had a sad affair, and I'll always remember. When you're out for no good, everything goes bad. I met a guy last June, called him up in September, and said, my dear, you're just a cad. There is no doubt you led me astray, 'cause I found out the other day. I'm late, I'm in an awful state. What can I do? I'm sad and blue. It's not my rent that's overdue. I'm late, I've checked on every date. According to my diary, I'm sure that it was you. 'Cause Sam was down in Alabama and Joe was in St. Louis. I'm sure that it was not Pierre, such things he doesn't do. I'm late, I'm in an awful state. Because you're such an early bird, I'm late. That night at 8, when you asked me for a date, could I anticipate my fate? I'm sure that I would hesitate. I'm vexed, I'm hexed, don't know what's coming next. If you were not so oversexed, I'd still be underweight. I know it wasn't Jack or Mac, I know it wasn't Lou. I'm sure that it was not Pierre, 'cause he's in love with you. Tonight at 8, I'm gonna hop a freight. Thanks to that oyster stew you ate, I'm late. And my husband is sterile. I'm late. Times have really changed since I got married. Things are not the way they used to be. All my husband thinks about are horses. He never has a minute for me. Last night I said, honey, let's discuss it. Let me try to tell you how I feel. Though you're quite a big shot at the racetrack, as a husband you have really been a heel. I've tried so very hard to make you happy. I tremble and I jump at your command. But now I got some things I'm gonna tell you in the only language you can understand. When it comes to loving, you are just another dude. It isn't very often I can get you in the mood. I try so hard to please you and to be your loving mate, but you're across the finish line and I'm left at the gate. You act like you're a 2-year-old, but I got news for you. According to your last results, your yearling days are through. One night I tried to hop you up, you acted mighty queer. Instead of being in the front, you wound up in the rear. All you ever think about are horses, horses. You never have a minute for me. You act like you're a stake horse, you think you've hit your stride, but in the game of loving you would be disqualified. You act like you're citation, but let me tell you, bud, the birth rate wouldn't change at all if they put you in stud. I feed you lots of oysters, but nothing's happened yet. I even tried a battery, but all you did was sweat. For weeks I haven't worked you. You think you're in condition, but let me tell you, boy, you got a lousy post position. Since you fell in love with the horses, you haven't been a lover to me. You were shipped here in a boxcar and moved into a stall. So far your only action was the day you had a ball. You might as well be gilded, it would save a lot of trouble. You barely make it once a week, let alone a daily double. You're up each day at daybreak and you hurry to the track. You come home for your feed bag and then you hurry back. And when it's time to go to bed, you're always playing hooky. Every night you walk the street a-looking for some nookie, a bookie. All you ever think about are horses, horses. You never have a minute for me. I know just where to find you from 9 a.m. till noon. You're grunting with your racing form in the reading room. I've tried to make you happy, I've given you my all, but soon you're gonna find another stallion in your stall. When you don't have a winner now, you sit around and pout. But baby, when I met you, you were just another tout. Now you own some horses and you got a season pass, but you'd still be a trainer if I hadn't sold my car. I'm gonna get a divorce, go and sleep with your horse. You haven't been a lover to me. Perhaps you've seen my picture in the papers, maybe in a magazine or two. If you have, you've probably said to someone near you, tell me, what does Cupcake do? Now that I think about it, matter of fact, I've heard people say that after they've seen my act. I'm a singer. I'm a singer, though I haven't got a voice. All my songs have double meanings, plenty of spice. I admit I'm naughty, but I try to be nice. I'm not pretty, but I'm witty, and I'm educated too. I remember well when I was just 17. I was oh so innocent, so coy and so green. But I learned life the hard way, if you know what I mean. I'm a lady, oh yes, Met a salesman, what a salesman, like you read about in books. He was so good looking, had a cleft in his chin. I saw him every night, but never let him get in. He was handsome, ooh, so handsome. Finally swept me off my feet. Went to his apartment, knew what I was about. We drank a fifth of gin and then he turned the lights out. But when I said I'm ready, that was when he passed out. I'm a lady, oh yeah. I meet fellas, lots of fellas, say they want to marry me. Marriage is like eating in a restaurant a lot. You wish that you had ordered what the other guy got. Guys with money, lots of money, offer me a wedding band. I've had many chances, but I never consent. I live the very best, and yet I earn every cent. I'll never be for sale, but I might be for rent. Oh yes, I had a boyfriend, what a boyfriend, everything a girl could want. I met him at a party, I was out on a spree. Started going steady, but we couldn't agree. Used to tease him, never please him. That's the way I got my kicks. I used to make him angry, used to make him so mad. He threatened he would spank me every time I was bad. But when he'd pull my dress up, he'd forget he was mad. I'm a lady, oh yes. I'm a lady, I'm a lady. And I work hard every day. 7 nights a week I work without any rest. Here's a couple things I'd like to get off my chest. I'm a lady, I'm a lady, and I'm independent too. I'm strictly self-supporting, glad to be on my own. I never borrow money, never ask for a loan. I make $50 a week, but I send 300 home. The reason, of course, is I play the horses. I'm a lady, oh yeah. My guy and I walk down the street. I'm full of energy. He looks so beat. His body's aching, 'cause we've been making a little cha-cha. The night was warm, the moon was bright, the music soft, the mood just right. And then he kissed me beneath the roses, and now I think I'm fragrant. I don't stay out till daylight. I'm not the type to roam. If I'm not in bed by midnight, I get in my car and go home. I like to flirt, I like to play. I never get hurt or go astray. 'Cause to me men are like socks. You gotta change them every day. And I'm a very clean female. Confucius said so long ago, he was a genius, he ought to know. Man who lose key to girl's apartment get no new key. I met a guy from Italy. He had a penthouse, I had the key. But we soon broke up, 'cause one day I woke up the fact that he wanted to make a little whoppy. People think I'm promiscuous because I sing songs risque. You'd be surprised to know how pure I am, and I've been that way all day. The man I marry is my delight. We never argue, we never fight, and I know where he is every single night, because I shot him. Your conscience is so important, yet so misunderstood. Conscience is the thing that hurts you when everything else feels good. Oh, I've been fooled by many guys. I should be smart, I should be wise. I say this is the last time, but my favorite pastime Now, it could be eating or drinking or growing orchids or sewing or skin diving or playing poker, bridge. But it just happens to be sex. Early one morning, some time ago, I received a call from my agent. He said, "Cup, how would you like to work in one of the best nightclubs in Havana, Cuba?" Well, I thought it over for at least, like 5 seconds, and he said, "Are you ready to leave?" So I packed. Man, if I knew then what I know now, well, I was a fairly naive female at the time, but girls in Havana, you can get unnaived in a hurry. Wow. I met the biggest man in Havana. He looked so handsome to me. He owned several banks, he had plenty to spare. Had a big mansion, a real millionaire. The rooms were all round, for that guy was no square. He was the biggest man in Havana. He used to drop in the nightclub where I was doing my show. He spent lots of money, he captured my eye. He was setting me up for a sucker, was I. I felt like lead, 'cause everybody said he was the biggest man in Havana. He set a date up for Thursday after my 9:30 show. He sent me an orchid, how thrilled could I be? Not just one flower, he sent the whole tree with a note that said he would prove to me he was the biggest man in Havana. He drove me up to his mansion, way up high on a hill. The servants were gone, the lights were turned low. The champagne was old, the music was slow. It wouldn't be long before I would know about the biggest man in Havana. I admit he was charming, till I said I must go. I tried to leave, but he made me stay. I gave him one kiss, he got carried away. He wasn't kidding when he hollered, "Olé, the biggest wolf in Havana." I crawled down from that mansion, way up high on a hill. I stumbled, I staggered, as fast as I could go, back to that nightclub to do my second show. Just as I walked in the door, the boss grabbed me and said, "You're late." I said, "Yeah, only a couple of minutes." He said, "Yeah? Well, tell me, what happened to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?" "Why?" So, after I was fired, I only have one thing to say. I won't be going back to Havana. I've lost my desire to roam. I'm gonna unpack my grip. I've had my last trip. You've all heard that old joke about the 200 pounds of dynamite with a 2-inch fuse? Well, from now on, I'm gonna stay right here and have a ball with all the little guys at home. Now let me tell you my story. I'll make it short and fast. Before I'm working in this joint instead of the job I had last, I once was the best in my business. There was no man that I couldn't suit. You can ask the madam I worked for in that house of Ill Repute. Then one day I made a discovery. I blew up in a terrible fit. 'Cause when I found out the others got paid, I packed up my things and I quit.